So after I get this on, my next box is box D, which has all the accessories and so forth. So you want to open this guy. I'll give you a brief little rundown of what's actually inside this box. There's a lot of things in this box. We'll start with the battery chargers. I'll explain later how to charge the batteries. Next you have this little bag. This little bag here has all your cables, so cables that you'll use to attach the monitor to the camera, the external viewfinder to the camera, audio cables, and so forth. So that's your little cable bag. These are power cables that go into the battery chargers or into the wall adapter for the RED camera. This here is an audio accessory cable. It's an XLR basically cable that'll give you the RED input on one end, because RED doesn't have XLR inputs on it. It has its own proprietary style of input. So this is somewhat of a converter. And this here, I believe is called the dovetail, allows you to attach your battery and to hold your hard drive in there. We'll be getting to all of these one by one, of course, as we mount the camera. This here is your power adapter. This allows, sorry, not that part. This here is your power adapter. This allows you to plug the camera directly to the wall, to an AC outlet without having to run off battery power. This, I believe, is a new item. I haven't seen this before, but by looking at it, it looks like a shoulder mount. So I guess if you want the camera to be shoulder mounted, you would attach this to the bottom of the camera and have a shoulder mount. And there's a couple more little adapters here. These you will not necessarily be using all the time. This here is basically allows you to go from 19mm rods to 15mm rods to attach your follow focus or different accessories that may use that rod size. I'll get into that a little later. This here is one of the power cables for your hard drives. So when you want to transfer your footage and plug the hard drive into the wall, that's one of the power cables. This here is a box with Allen keys, all different sizes, that will allow you to add things and so forth to the RED, tighten knobs and so forth. That's what that is. These here, I believe, are called pistol grips. These would go on the front of the camera. If you're shoulder mounts, they would allow you to hold the camera more securely and stably. Here we have, I don't know the necessarily brand of this, but it's a magic arm basically. And what this does is that it allows you to mount your external monitor to the camera body and move it around into a position that suits you best, and then you tighten it up. We'll also get into that later. And then you have a bunch of metal rods here. Metal, and I think this is carbon fiber or something, not so sure. These are metal. These are 19mm rods, and these go onto the camera and allow you to attach accessories to the camera. And these are basically supports for those, such as your mat box and so forth. And earlier when we were talking about this item here, we mentioned 19mm rods and 15mm rods. This will give you a better understanding of that. This here is a 19mm hole. A 19mm rod goes in there. This here is a 15mm rod, which is a lot thinner. And a 15mm rod goes into the smaller hole. Simple as that. So in the events that you need something that holds 15mm rods, this is an adapter that allows you to do that. Okay, so now we're going to start building our RED, using primarily first this accessory box. So I'm sure a lot of different DPs or different camera operators have different ways of doing this. This is just a system I use. I guess there's no right or wrong, well, there might be right or wrong ways to do things, but I guess there's no specific order. As long as things are securely placed, you're good. So this is basically the way I build it. One of the first things that we're going to use are the base plate, sorry, the rods. What I use is these first two 19mm silver rods. I use those for the bottom because they're a little bit longer, so they allow you to get your mat box on. So you want a nice long rod at the bottom, as well as your full follow focus unit, if you're using one. So what you want to do here, is slightly loosen these screws. You don't want to go too far, you don't want them coming out. Just loosen these a bit. There's one in the front of this hole, there's another hole in the back here. Right there, you can see that. As you can see, you just saw a benefit of mounting the camera while it's on a tripod. You can move around. So there we go. And what you want to do is slide this rod in, leaving lots of room in the front. Not too much, but I'd say about about that much and you should be fine to get your mat box on. So what is that? That's about 6 inches, a bit more. Leave that in the front just to give you room to get your mat box on, which is going to go in front of the lens. And if it's not too far, too close, don't worry, you can always loosen and move this later. So tighten these knobs up, sorry. You want to tighten these knobs up, not too hard because these will snap. You just want to get it nice and snug so that this doesn't slide out. These will definitely snap, so just a little snug, and that's it. And it's not going anywhere, so you're good. Same thing on the other side. You want to get the second rod. Loosen your screw a bit. There, we do have a screw missing here, and that's proof of why you do not want to loosen these screws way too much because they pop out, and they're really tiny, so they get lost on set. So you want to slide this in and tighten your screw here. And imagine that I have a second screw here. We want to tighten that guy as well. This should hold enough for now, though, at least just for the purpose of this tutorial.